Welcome to Cash in the Attic. This is the show that helps you find the hidden treasure in your home and then sells it for you at auction. Now today I'm in Belper in Derbyshire, and this is the Belper River Gardens, where behind me is Belper Mill. Constructed of a cast iron frame in 1804 by local businessman William Strutt, he managed to create a multi-storey fireproof building, which went on to form the basis of the skyscrapers we see across the world today. So we're hoping that we're going to find an array of antiques that will stand head and shoulders above the rest and make us a great profit when we get the bidders to dig deep at auction. I'm on my way to meet Jane Calladine and her husband Martin. Now they've called in the Cash in the Attic team to help them sit more comfortably.
Martin and Jane share their 4-bedroom Derbyshire home with their pet dog, who gets all of their affection. Martin loves mending computers. At the age of 50, he fancied a career change from being an electrician, so put his hobby to good use and now works in IT. He was 19 when he first met Jane, who was then sweet 16, and the couple married 3 years later. They recently celebrated their 25th wedding anniversary with a round-the-world trip. But today, the whistle-stop tour they'll be doing is around their own home, finding those antiques that we'll be taking to auction.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Oh, hello, who's this?
This is Mia.
Ah, so is she going to be rummaging with us today?
I think so.
Oh, how old is she?
She's 4.
Oh, she's lovely, isn't she?
Gorgeous. Bit nosy.
Oh, very enthusiastic. Hold on just a minute.
No.
First of all, I need to find out exactly what we're going to be looking at. What sort of stuff have we got? Where's it come from?
The majority has come from my father and his family. I inherited it, and a few bits I think
A few
from your
pieces from my
family.
family
Yes.
as well.
Okay, all right. And what's the plan? What do you want to do?
We need to get rid of some of our goods and get a nice new suite.
This looks a great suite. Why do you need to replace this?
Well, we've had it quite a while, and the dog's been up on it, and it's about time we changed it, I think.
Well, so how much is that going to
I
cost?
think we're looking around £900.
Right, okay. So, £900, Mia. So we can get a new leather street, because I think you've destroyed the old one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got a rummage as well today. All right? Okay, well, let's go have a look, see what we've got then, okay?
Okay then.
Over the years, Martin and Jane have amassed many heirlooms and collectibles. We have lots of rooms to rummage through, but will we be sitting comfortably when it's time to do the sums?
Well, I've spotted plenty of antiques. Now all we need to do is spot a man who can value them. I think he might be through here.
Today's expert is Paul Hayes. Paul has a wealth of antiques knowledge behind him, and he'll be making sure we're overflowing with ornaments when it's time for drinks at the end of the day.
Hello, Paul.
Hello.
Kitchen.
How are you? All right.
Paul, you must be brewing up a cuppa, surely.
Well, I'm actually going to have a glass of claret. I don't know about you.
That's lovely. I love the etching on that. Gosh.
Isn't that absolutely fantastic? And this is the sort of thing that goes back to the golden age of dining, really. And people would be sat around the very large dining table, and this would be used purely for the claret wine. But this one's very Art Nouveau in style. It's dead on the year 1900, sort of 1890, 1900, new art for the new century. And we know that by the decoration on the glass, everything flows. That one of the greatest sort of exponents really of the Art Nouveau period was the use of plant life and organic forms, and you get these wonderful sort of tendrils and flowing reeds and so on, and these fish in the pond. The whole thing just says Art Nouveau.
No, it's absolutely stunning, but what's it worth?
Well, quite a lot. The first thing to look for is make sure none of the glass is damaged. This has to be blown into the mount, so this is in lovely condition. I've had a good look around. There's no cracks or chips. It's very expensive to get another piece of glass blown into there, so that's the main thing you look for. The metal mounts don't so much matter. They're quite plain and quite restrained, really. A good turn of the century claret jug would bring at least £100 to £150 a sort of price band.
Great.
Excellent. Oh, £100. Well,
There you go.
that's a cushion on the sofa. One cushion on the sofa. We've got a whole sofa to fund here at £900, so I suggest we carry on. Let's go back that way.
Okay.
It's cheers to Jane's relatives for our first find of the day.
It's been in the family a long time, the claret jug, and it's very pretty, but we only use it at Christmas, so really it has to go.
Martin and Jane love to travel and also holiday in Greece once a year. It's where Jane's family originally come from. She's fascinated by her family roots and thinks her family first came to the UK in the 1820s. It would be great if we could find enough high-value items today so that we could help continue with their travelling hobby.
Martin, this is interesting, isn't it?
Oh yeah, so the wax.
It's a oh yes, it's a wax. Yeah, isn't that
Yeah,
beautiful?
painted wax.
Do you know who it is?
I think it's a wax of Henry de Malézic, around 1635.
Well, this is beautifully done. It's after a guy called Dupré, who was one of the best-known French medal makers, and he made all the French coins and military medals of the day. So, was this a family piece then? Or?
It's part of Jane's inheritance, yeah.
Right.
And it does actually say Dupré under the shoulder there.
Does it really? Let's have a look. Oh, well, that puts it in a whole different ballpark, to be honest with you. Normally, they wouldn't copy an artist's signature. So chances are this could have been made 17th century, sometime at the time of when he was alive.
Oh.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
It's going up in my estimation every time I look at it. So what we've got here really is a beautiful portrait of a French cavalier dating possibly to the 17th century. So what a fantastic thing. So if I said at least £100, I mean, does that sound okay?
Sounds great.
All right, let's see if we can get any cavaliers at the auction.
Okay. I'm looking forward to taking it to the auction, and hopefully it generates a lot of interest with people. It'll be interesting to see actually what it does and how much it makes, and I hope it creates a lot of interest.
Martin and Jane used to spend time searching through car boot sales, aiming to spot a bargain or two. They've now decided it's time to stop buying and start selling, so they don't mind sending off this Fox Head doorstop, priced £60 to £80. They no longer use this Georgian washstand, so it's off to the sale room with a value of £70. They're both trying to curb their collecting instincts, but Jane does still have a soft spot for anything with an animal theme, especially dogs.
So what do you make of these then?
Do you know, I really like these. They're beautifully painted. And what you'll find with lots of good artists, they tend to work on the features and the facial features. These ones are typical of what you find in the 1920s and 30s, these sort of West Highland or Lakeland Terriers. And this one here is called Judy. So the owner would bring this dog along and they would take measurements of the distance from the nose to their eyes and so on. And the artist would do a fantastic individual drawing, and it's wonderfully done. But this guy in particular, L.W. Lucas, we have come across before, and his work comes up. He's more famous really for sporting race horses, that type of thing. This one's beautifully framed.
Do you think that's the original frame? I doubt that is, but do you think that is?
Well, funny enough, this one's always been in this frame. If you have a look here, yeah, we've got exactly what we want here. We have an undisturbed back. Can you see that? So that tells me it's made about the same time.
Okay, well, should I do the other one then?
Have a look at that one.
Oh.
So that's been out, you see? Can you see?
Ah, yes,
It's all
of
ripped
course.
around the edge.
Well,
It makes
that
no
solves that one, doesn't
There
it? Oh, you're not going to leave it like that, surely. So what do you think these are going to make?
I'm not going to tell you how much I think these are worth just yet, but I do think they're quite good items.
Oh.
That's not playing fair, is
Is
it?
it really?
Well, it's a bit of fun, isn't it? A bit of fun.
Well, when are you going to tell us what you think they might be worth?
At the auction. At the
Okay,
auction.
well, what do you think about this?
Right.
What do you think they might be worth?
About £60 each.
Good, all right then. Well, we'll go and find something else that you can tell us the price
Okay.
of.
The two paintings will be sold together as one lot, which Jane thinks will raise us another £120. Paul takes our pursuit out to Martin's computer workshop, but his gaze doesn't fix on anything of note. But we think the bidders won't sniff at this engraved snuff box with its decorated lid of ivory. Paul prices our piece at £40 to £60. We need to continue working to find more items that'll adorn the auction house.
You found anything interesting on there then that we could sell?
Well, funny enough, not so much on there, but if you step back, just take a look at that. Isn't that absolutely beautiful?
That
It's
is a beautiful dresser, I have to say.
Yeah, a Welsh dresser, one of the best, sort of most recognised piece of furniture you can get. Well, these are affectionately known as Welsh dressers because that's the area where they originated from. And a dresser is basically an open rack of shelves on top of a sideboard. And the idea is that you'd have your best meat plates or your best items you would use to serve your lunch up with. In the bottom here, these sort of wide gaps at the bottom were used for your milk. If you were gathering milk on the farm, you would store your churns and things. Usually they have 3 drawers. This one has 5, which tells me it's a very elaborate piece. It's been used to use your best cutlery, say, in these 2 little tiny drawers. Fantastic. And also an arched centre, which is a very unusual feature with all this open pot cupboard at the bottom. But the whole thing just says 18th century. Absolutely fantastic.
So what sort of value are we talking about, do you think, Paul?
What we've got really is a beautiful 18th century dresser that would bring at least £2,000 to £2,500, that sort of price band.
Yes, that's okay, but I'm a little bit disappointed really because it has been previously valued at quite a bit more than that.
How long ago did you have it valued and what was the price at the time?
I think it must have been over 5 years ago, and it was valued, I think, at 6,000 to 8,000.
Traditional style furniture is not fashionable at the moment. I mean, 5 or 6 years ago, you may have drawn a little bit more. Everybody nowadays wants the more modern look, so things can struggle slightly. But I still think they'll do very well.
But I think Jane will have to make the decision whether she wants to sell it.
Is she likely to, do you think?
I don't know. I think we'll have to ask her.
Good idea. Right, come on, let's do that.
Before we do anything with the Welsh dresser, I think we've got to have a word with Jane before we start taking it to pieces and trying to get it down to the auction house. We've got to ask her what she wants to do, really.
If the Welsh dresser heads off to auction, that will be a brilliant bonus to our total. Adding slightly less is this copper bed warmer. Paul thinks it should reach at least £15 when it goes under the hammer. But I thought it would be a good time to catch up with Jane.
Now tell me a little bit about this dress, because I know it's been in the family, but do you know anything about it other than that?
Not really. It's been there as long as I know, as long as I can remember. And I believe it's been passed down through the generations.
So how do you feel about the thought of selling it?
I've got to really think about it, but on the other hand, we want to travel and we've got no children, so I have to give it some careful thought.
So, I mean, if you were to sell it and decide to travel, what sort of travelling are you talking about?
Well, we love Greece, so we'd love to rent in Greece again, visit the islands and perhaps go to America again and a little bit further afield.
So I understand also that because you're planning to do this, you're learning Greek, is that right?
I've passed 2 exams. I'm quite good at speaking Greek, but nowadays I'm a little rusty.
I was going to ask you to teach me something in Greek, but actually I'm far better at breaking plates. So
Let's go and break some plates then.
come on.
We're not even halfway towards the £900 needed for Jane and Martin's new leather suite, so we need to crack on trying not to smash anything. The old suite isn't the only seat that's going, as this child's chair is also off to auction with a price of £30. Jane's serious about her clear-out, so she's happy for another of her beloved animal pictures to feature in the sale catalogue at £50 to £80. It's all right for some of us to kick back and relax, but the rest of us can't afford to take our eye off the ball. And Mia's making the most of the old sofa, as she won't be allowed on the Caladine's new suite.
Now then, is it 10 o'clock already?
Yes.
Now this is a real beauty. Where's this come from?
Again, this is something that Jane had, you know, in her inheritance. It'd been in her family.
Well, this is called a lantern clock, and it comes from the old word Latin, which actually means brass, but they're shaped like the old lanterns that people used to carry around with them. Now, normally these will sit on a table. All the ones I've seen sit on a table and they're spring-driven. This one is weight-driven, which tells me it's a little bit older. It's a fantastic original item. So, does she know much about it? When we've got a maker here, John Rogers of Leominster.
John Rogers, I've done a little bit of research about it and found the age of the clock, and that it's a genuine one. And that's about all I've done with it, really.
Now, this is a 30-hour clock. It'll need winding up every day.
Yes.
So they were quite tedious, really, when you think about using them every day. Well, I think that's a beautiful clock. It's 18th century. I think you're looking £800 to £1,500, that sort of price band.
Excellent.
Isn't that a beauty?
It's absolutely lovely.
Right, tell you, cup of tea.
There we go.
If the lantern clock sells well, it'll cover the cost of the sofa itself.
The John Rogers lantern alarm clock. Fabulous. I love Paul's appraisal. It's a fabulous clock, and I'm over the moon for the valuation. Fabulous.
There's no time to rest on our laurels, as we still have plenty of time left in our day to swell our total even further. Which Martin does when he spots this joint stall. Paul thinks it will stand in good stead with a £30 to £50 price tag. Because we've found so much furniture, Paul's decided to find a sale with a separate furniture section. It means our lots could entice many more bids and get a better price.
Oh, these are nice. Now then.
Oh.
These are beautiful. Where do these come from?
Oh, I don't know. I've had those for ages. Got hold of them probably about 20 years ago.
Well, you can tell instantly that they're made from bronze. They're very cold to the touch, very, very heavy. But bronze itself is an alloy of zinc and copper. And when it wears through, it shows a very sort of brassy, almost gold-like substance underneath. And if you have a look at the feet or the paws on this badger here, we've got this sort of goldish colour coming through that tells us it's a genuine bronze. And the results are fantastic. We've got every detail. If you look at this spaniel here, we've got these wonderful sort of hair and features and expressions. Very, very difficult to do, and it's only really the best artists that could do it. So what we've got then really is a pair of late 19th century Austrian coal-painted bronzes. Any idea what they might bring, do you think?
£20?
Well, I think you at least double that. You're looking probably £50 to £100 for them.
Good grief.
OK?
Yes.
So can they go?
Yeah, they can go, great.
Great. OK, I'll leave them there. And don't fight.
I didn't even know they were bronze. So to be worth that much when we probably paid £1 or £2, I'm really amazed, really pleased.
Martin's collecting habit was for all things to do with antique guns. He's only kept a few bits and pieces, but is more than happy for these 3 gunpowder flasks to head to the sale. Paul thinks they should create a bang and raise a further £50 to £80. And our second chair find of the day will also be sold during the furniture section of the auction. Paul thinks £70 to £100 will sit comfortably with the bidders.
Lorne?
Yeah?
What do you think to this?
Well, I don't know. Does it lay eggs?
It certainly doesn't.
What is it?
It's Crown Derby.
Oh, well, that's a good name. That is a very good name. I've never seen a piece of Crown Derby like this. I wonder whether Paul has. Paul?
Yeah.
We've got a nice piece of Crown Derby here. Quite unusual, actually.
All right.
Have you ever seen a piece quite like that?
Not quite like this, no, but you do find sort of 1960s, 1970s Derby diversified in lots of models of figurines, like most animals, basically.
Right.
Now, the first thing I always look for when you're looking at any Derby item is to check the mark. This one very clearly says Royal Crown Derby, but if you rub your thumb over the mark itself, what I'm looking for is a scratch. Now, any second that's produced from Crown Derby, they place a scratch through the mark and they sell it off cheaply. This one's okay, so you've got the genuine article. It's left the factory in good form. I've noticed, though, this one's slightly damaged, which does make a difference to the price. But bearing in mind, when this was bought, sort of early 1950s, 1960s, you're looking at a piece that's probably cost quite a lot of money, basically a week's wages at the time, if not more.
So what are we talking about for auction, do you think, Paul?
Well, a good quality piece, one of the best names you can get. I mean, Derby itself is the only firm, I think, that's left that still makes all of its products here in Britain. So a good quality Derby figurine will bring 100, maybe £150, a sort of price band.
How do you feel about that?
That's great. Would that be with the damage as well?
With the damage, yes, it shows distressed.
Well, let's hope it's him with a fighting chance either way, hey?
Exactly, yes.
OK, well, that's good news then. We wanted £900, didn't we, for this sofa? Although I have to confess, I have sat down on it a couple of times. It seems very comfortable to me.
Well, we don't like it now.
OK, fair enough. Time to move on. Well, you should be moving on. Maybe you need to upgrade from leather, because the value of the items going to auction comes to £1,525.
Great.
Fantastic.
Okay, yeah,
lovely.
fine.
Yeah, marvellous.
And don't forget, that excludes the 2 little dog paintings that Paul won't tell us how much they're worth. We'll find that out on the day. And this fantastic piece, because we don't know whether or not you're going to be bringing that yet. So, I mean, if you do, then you're laughing. You'll probably put a deposit down for another house, let alone a sofa.
Yes.
We've had a really good day here in Belper and have unearthed some brilliant finds. Among the items being sold during the general section of the sale will be the claret jug that came from Jane's family, our 6 pieces from the animal kingdom, including the 2 dog pictures. Paul will tell us their value at the auction, and a Crown Derby rooster that's slightly distressed, the wall-hanging lantern alarm clock, a style Paul's never seen before, and the price caused a bit of a shock to Martin. And finally, the wax medal cast that went up in Paul's estimation. Our remaining lots will be placed in the separate furniture section of the sale. They include our 2 chairs, the Georgian washstand, and finally the Welsh dresser. It could be the star of the show, but Jane's yet to reach a decision about whether or not to sell it.
Now, it's a few weeks since we had a good look round Jane and Martin's home. We found plenty of family heirlooms, which we've brought here to Bamford's Auction House in Derby. Now, remember, the Calladines want to raise £900 for a new suite. So let's hope today that the bidders are ready to sit up, listen and take notice as our lots go under the hammer.
The The sale room is already busy, packed with inquisitive viewers.
Well, this is the first time we've ever been to the auction this morning. Watched it many a time on the television, got interested, and we thought we'd give it a try and come and just see actually what does happen and what goes on at an auction.
But it's time to find the man who's an old hand when it comes to auctions.
Looks just like you after you finished an auction, that.
Yeah, you're probably right, actually.
Now, I've already bumped into Jane and Martin in the car park. Now, they're going to go and take positions, so we can catch up with them in a bit.
OK.
But I didn't have time to find out exactly what they have and haven't bought.
Well, I really hope they brought the Welsh dresser. That would make a massive difference to the target.
I think one of my favourite pieces is definitely that fox doorstop. I mean, it's such an unusual thing.
Well, that's right.
What about the dog oils?
Well, I found some good information about those, and it's helped me put a real value on them. So I'll tell you a bit later when the family are here.
OK, well, there's loads of people here, so I think we might have to battle our way through to find Jane and Martin. Come on.
We're also looking for the bidders to be sparring over the Caledine 16 lots, though the buyers have already been scratching around one of their items.
Mostly we've been looking at the Crown Derby. We are interested in different things of Crown Derby. We know there's a cockerel that's going for auction today.
It didn't take the two ladies long to get into the spirit of things. Today's auctioneer, James Lewis, is crowing about it too.
Buy Crown Derby in London, bring it up to Derby, stick it in our sale and make a huge profit out of it. So if I don't sell this cockerel at a profit, I think I'm going to have a bit of egg on my face, I reckon.
Well, Martin and Jane certainly won't want the cockerel coming home to roost. But it's time to find out if they've bought that wonderful piece of Welsh furniture.
Morning. I see we're all here then. Oh. Now, I must admit, can't see the Welsh dresser, so what was the decision on that?
We've decided to sell it.
You are definitely going to sell it?
Definitely going to sell it.
Oh, right, OK.
Oh, that's a good idea, actually. Now, there's a fine art sale coming in a couple of weeks, but I think your main items where you dress it, and also your lantern clock. OK. So what I suggest we do is that those two items go to a specialist sale.
Now, we had those charming oils of the two dogs. Now, we hope to find out some more on that. Did we manage that, Paul?
I've got some very good news about those, actually, but I'm not going to say too much just yet, but they are in today's sale, and I think you'd be quite surprised on them.
However, we've got a job to do first of all. All your items are here. We need to make sure they sell so that we can get that new suite. OK. Are you going to be all right then?
Yes, she'll be fine.
Right, no sniffing out bargains. We're here to sell. Come on then, this way.
OK.
So the dresser and clog won't be sold today, but in a separate fine art sale in a couple of weeks' time. There are hundreds of people here in the sale room as the auction gets underway, and it's not long before our first lot is being announced to the room.
Lot 610, the Austrian bronze coal-painted model of the badger and the dog.
Now, these Austrian coal bronzes are quite popular, aren't they? It's a specialist market, but certainly a popular one. So what do you want for these?
We're looking at least, what do we put in, £50. I mean, they are small items, but if these were Art Deco...
See, I don't think she's too impressed that we're selling the dog one. She's going to miss it.
Interest in this lot, we've got 4 bids on them,
nice.
All of them above estimate. £85 starts them, 85.90. 90 anywhere, at 85.90 do I see, 90, 5 on commission, 100, 100 yes with the lady, 110, 120, no, at 110, still on commission.
Small is beautiful.
£10, 120 do I see, at 110.
£110.
Marvellous.
That's a really good start to the sale and a brilliant return for Jane, as she only paid a couple of pounds for those bronzes. We'd love our next lot to stop the buyers in their tracks and get plenty of bids.
Now, I have a fox that lives in my garden, but the only one I'd want in the house is this, the doorstop. I think it's a fantastic piece, really unusual. What do you want for this, Paul?
Yeah, it's a real quality. I don't think I've seen one quite like this one. So we're looking at £60 upwards, really.
And £40 is bid on commission, single bid. So I'll start it low at 40, 5, 50, 5, 60, 5, 70, 5, 80, 80 do I see? At £75 front row, 80 new place, 85.
80 new place.
Go on, 85, 90, 95. You won't see another one, go on. 95, 100. It's a nice thing. 100, 110, 110, 120. You sure? Give you another chance. At 110 here, front row, 115 if it helps. At 110, are we all done? Sure? At 110, front row.
£110, and that's nearly double what we were hoping for, isn't it?
The Foxhead doorstop scampered out of the sale room for £50 more than we anticipated. And when the copper bed warmer enters the sale room...
At £16 for the copper warming pan, all done at 16.
£1 over the basic price there.
But it warms the cockles of our hearts, as a pound is still above our value and a profit. The fireworks continue when the gunpowder flasks come before the bidders.
At £55, right at the front.
As they sell over estimate too, and add a further boost to our £900 target. We're quietly confident about our next lot, bearing in mind that the auctioneer thinks it's the best place to be selling it.
OK, that's a piece of Crown Derby. It's our first piece today, and it's the cockerel. So I'll be interested to see how this does, because we are in the home here of the factory.
We want the price to fly well over £100.
Single bid. It's not a high one. It's £90.
£90. That's what we wanted.
There you go. At £90, 95 do I see? 95 at 90. Thought it would have made more. At 90, 95, 95, 100.
Come on.
Come on.
And 5, 110. 110 for you? 110, sir. At 110 seated. 120 do I see? At 120 new
120
place.
new bidder.
That's better.
There you go.
130, 140, 150, 160. No? You sure? At 150. Seated at 150, 160. Can I coax you into one more? At 150, all done. At 150. Seat at the back.
£150.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
We're having a brilliant morning, as that's another of Martin and Jane's pieces we've sold for over the price we were expecting.
The Crown Derby cockerel, it made much more than I thought it would, with it being slightly damaged. But no, really, really pleased about that one.
We're more than a third of a way towards their target and still have plenty of lots to come.
Lot number 830. Very pretty lot, this one.
I must admit, out of all your items, this is one of my favourites. It's the claret jug. Absolutely beautiful. Quality item. We've got it in at least £100. Let's see how it goes.
2 bids on it. Both bids disappointing. It's going to make more. £95 starts
95, there we go.
95, 100 I see.
Come on.
100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 210, 220. No? At 210 has.
It comes with 11 bottles of claret.
220 do I see? At 210, all short. At £210.
Hey.
Nice one.
What a beauty.
That was fantastic, I have to say.
Paul wasn't the only one in the auction house who loved it, as there were 2 people fighting to get their hands on that claret jug. We're also hoping that 2 or more people will have sniffed out our next lot.
A lot 810, the 19th century horn snuff box.
Quite a nice piece, that. What do you think of it?
Don't take snuff. It is a nice little box.
Yeah, it's very fine. It's got some nice pictures of dogs on it.
Paul thinks the snuff box could fetch £40 to £60.
Now this has had more bids than anything else in the sale.
You're kidding.
That's a lovely item,
net
though.
bidding as well. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 23 bids. And £145 is the other bidder. At 145, at £145. Any competition in the room for it? At £145, are we all sure? 150, sir. 160, 170.
Here we go.
One
He
more.
wants it, he wants it.
Give it a go. At 160, still on commission. At £160, it's against you. All sure.
Hey, fantastic.
£160, and that had more bids on it than anything else in the sale. And it's got to be one of the smallest pieces.
There really is never a dull moment at auction. It's full of surprises. As all our lots from the animal kingdom have sold well so far, we thought we'd send in the dog print next.
100.
Hey,
Nice
fantastic.
one, double what we wanted.
It seems Jane isn't the only dog lover in the auction house. The wax medal cast proved popular too, selling for £85. It's now time for our final lot of the general section of the sale.
Lot number 640. Lovely pair of studies of terriers here.
How much did we say they were worth in the house? Can you remember?
120.
What was your list?
I think a little bit less than that, I think.
Right. Well, in fact, I think you're looking double that. His work's very, very good. You're looking between £300 and £500. Okay.
Goodness gracious.
Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bids on there.
7 commission.
7 bids on the book.
Very, very close together. £270, I'll start them at. At 270, 280 do I see? At 270, 280 is it? 280, 280, 290, 310, 320, 330, 340, 350, 360 in the corner, 370, 380, 380, 390, 400. Don't say no, keep going, they're worth it. Go on, 400, one more. 410, 420, 430, 440. Cry all the way home, keep going, one more. You've beaten it, 440 in the room, well done. 440, 450 do I see? Any competition for them at 440. All short, with you at 440.
Yes! £440. That's just superb, isn't it? Okay.
Well, that was certainly way over Jane's £120 guess. The auctioneer worked really hard to get us a fantastic price. But what does it do to our total?
OK, now that is the end of the general section of the sale, and we've still got the furniture lots to go, but you must realise we've done pretty well.
Really well, yeah.
Well, we wanted £900 for this suite so you could sit more comfortably, didn't we? Well, just in the general section, you've banked £1,436.
Unbelievable.
Super.
Great.
Absolutely brilliant. I'm so pleased for you. And it's what Paul always says, quality sales.
Yeah, it certainly does, and it's a well-attended sale room. Lots of people have had a go at things today. It's been brilliant, hasn't it?
Fantastic.
There's time to spare before the furniture section at Bamford's, so Martin and Jane head off to a local furniture store to check out the styles on offer. It seems that this place has more sofas than you can shake a stick at, and replacing the old one is a priority.
The main cause of wear on the old sofa was, I suppose, the dog, we have to be honest.
Yeah, she did jump on it a little bit, didn't she?
If all this choice is a bit daunting, there's no harm in trying them for size.
This is what we call a semi-aniline leather.
Or how about something lighter?
This is a more firmer seat than the Brasilia we showed you.
Eventually, Martin and Jane find something that seems ideal.
You like it, Jane?
This is the sort of comfort I was looking for,
This is more of the colour as well, isn't
A
it?
lovely colour.
They seem to have made their minds up.
The one that we like is nice and high, isn't it?
It's
and
high,
firm.
and it's the leather we like, the colour, and we think it'll go really nice in our room setting at home. It's a really nice one.
It's back to the auction house for the Calladines, who've reached their £900 target. But everyone is gearing up for the furniture sale, and today's auctioneer, James Lewis, is upbeat about our prospects.
We're finding almost every single area of the auction is fairly buoyant at the moment, so I'm looking forward to a good sale.
We've taken our positions at the back of the room as the auctioneer announces our first lot.
Lot number 181, the George III mahogany washstand. There we are. Nice colour.
What do we expect for that then?
We'll look at least 70 for this, see how that goes. It's a nice item, just slightly out of fashion, really, but we'll see how it goes.
And £70 please. 70, coming in. 60 if you like, split the difference. £60 I have. Starts it at 60 and 5 anywhere.
See it at 60.
£60 and 5, yes? 65, £70, 75. Thinking. Do you want it? 75 new place. I'll come back to you. £80, 85. 85, one more. 85, £90. Yeah, £90. 95, 95, 100. 100, 110.
Yes.
110, 120. 120, 130. 130, 140. One more. 135 if you like. Nope, at 130. With you at 130 in the centre. All shore.
Excellent. 130, that's great.
Fantastic.
Another superb sale over estimate, and our day is going so well. But we're not the only ones having a good day.
Well, we bid for the Georgian washstand because for us it's going to just fit in nicely. We should actually in fact use it for a little bedside table, which is our small room. It would just fit in nicely.
When the joint stall is shown to the room, it proves too nice to resist, and a friendly buyer pays £80 for it.
That's fine for us because it's small, compact, and we should use that as a little occasional table in our sitting room.
Next before the buyers is the child's chair that Jane used as a nipper.
At 50, all short, 50.
Excellent, £50, that's very good.
Selling for £20 above Paul's estimate means that we've sold all of Jane and Martin's items over price. But it's time for our last lot of the day, which the auctioneer particularly likes.
Make a wonderful little desk chair. And it has those little added details, the little turns on the end of the cresting rail. It just raises it slightly above the normal example.
Will the bidders be on the edge of their seats when they see ours?
This is a real quality item. It's Georgian, so it's 200 years old, but I think at least £70. Underrated items these. It'd be interesting to see how it goes.
And 2 bids on it. £75 is the underbidder. 80 starts. 90, 90, 100, 10. 110 beats all the commissions. 120 new place. 130. 130. 130 yes. 140. Yes, 140. 150, sir. 150. 160. 170.
Our friendly buyer wants this lot too.
71 more, 170, 180, 180, 190, 190, make a good desk chair,
nice
190, 200, 200, 210.
Come on.
One more, 210, give you the same chance, 220, 230, keeping going.
Wow.
Don't give up. At
Two people want it.
220, 230 do I see, at 220 we'll show.
£220.
Marvellous, that, isn't it?
Can't believe that.
The Georgian chair sells for 3 times Paul's valuation, an unbelievable price. We've had an outstanding day here, selling all of Martin and Jane's items for over their estimate. But what does that do to our total?
Did very well there, £480. Now, given how well we did in the general section, you'll be delighted to hear that you've banked £1,916.
Absolutely brilliant.
Great, super.
Now, obviously £900 for the suite, but you've got £1,016 to spare.
Travelling.
Do some travelling.
Definitely travelling.
Given that you've made so much money, are you still happy to go ahead with the specialist auctions?
Fine.
Yeah?
Yeah, still go ahead.
Are you on a roll here? Let's make as much as we possibly can.
Yeah.
Let's carry on, let's carry on.
It's 1 week later and Martin and Jane head back to Bamford's. They've already amassed enough money for their new sofa. But we've such an exciting day ahead of us as their lantern clock and Welsh dresser are in the fine art sale. Its catalogue is full of the very best pieces that have been saved by the auction house, which are then offered to the bidders.
The viewing for this sale has been absolutely fantastic. So that really does have good vibes. So I'm hoping it's going to do all right.
Placing our exquisite items in this sale means they've got a better chance of getting the highest possible price. But it's time for Paul to find Martin and Jane.
Now then, you two. I see you found an old friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really glad you've decided to sell it. We couldn't be in a better place today. It's a fine art specialist sale. And we have your Welsh dresser and your wonderful clock. So if it's got a chance of doing anything anywhere today, I think it's going to be here. And the way you two are going, let's hope they really take off. So the auction's going to start any minute now. So let's take our places, OK?
The sale room is packed with plenty of eager bidders. We find a spot at the back of the room, just as the auctioneer announces our first lot.
Lot 1,669. Interesting lot, unusual wall clock.
This is my favourite. It's your post office alarm clock, as we call it, but it's beautifully described here by John Rogers of Leominster, circa 1750. So it's antique, it's a one-off item. Fingers crossed.
We're hoping to boost our total by at least £800.
Where should we start it? Do I see £800, please? 800. Bid at 800. 700 then. 700 I have. With you, sir, it's 750. 700, yes, 750. 850. 900. And 50. 1,000. 1,050. 1,050, yes, 1,050. 11. One more. 1150. 12. You're out. At 12, no. 1,200 new place. 1,250. 1,250. 13. Thinking. 13. 1,350. 1,320. At 1,320. 1,340. 1,340. 1,360. At 1,340, with you, standing at 1,340, and sure.
1340.
Great, well over.
That was our lot, wasn't it?
Yeah, so.
The auctioneer had our best interests at heart and got us the best price possible. Paul's hunch to place it in a fine art sale paid off, but will the Welsh dresser follow suit?
But what we've got here is obviously your oak dresser. It's beautiful. It's 18th century, marvellous condition. It's valued slightly less than what you remember. You know, you've had it valued before, but it's in at 2,000. You're quite happy to let it go for that?
Yes.
We'll see how it goes then.
Let's hope, yeah.
Okay.
And I have a commission bid on this lot as well, and £1,800 is bid. At 1,008, 1,009 do I see? 1,009, sir? At 1,009. 2,000 on commission. 2-1 for you. 2-1. 2-2. 2-3. No? At 2002, 2-3 do I see? 2003 internet billing at 2-3. It's with you at 2-3, it's against the commission. At 2-3, you coming back? At 2003, 2-4 for you? One more, you sure? At 2003, on the internet at 2-3.
That's okay. That's great.
Well, that fantastic sale means we've done rather well, but it's time to find out just how well.
The sale that we went to before, the last sale, we made a total of £1,911. Today, we've made £3,640. Okay, so wait for it. If we add that lot together, the total price of all your items has been a staggering £5,551.
Oh, wow. That's great.
So that's one posh sofa.
I think we'll probably have two now.
Bit of decorating,
And
maybe.
travel.
I look forward to seeing this new sofa.
Okay.
Yes,
nice
you'll
and
have to
comfy.
come and visit us.
Oh, I certainly will. Put the kettle on.
2 weeks later and the sofa arrives. Martin is convinced that getting their new suite into their house will be easier said than done, and he's been making the necessary preparations. It seems even Martin has underestimated just how difficult this might be, and an epic struggle between man, sofa and front door is soon underway.
It's coming in at the bottom. I'm getting stuck here.
But eventually the great leather beast is tamed, and Jane quickly makes up her mind about where she wants it.
Can we just put that one there so that we could see, please? Do you mind? Not sure now. Perhaps the other way.
After their spectacular success at auction, there's enough money left over to live life to the full.
With the extra cash, we think we're going to put it towards a holiday. We've not quite decided on the holiday yet, but yes, I think it'll go towards a holiday.
Oh, look at this.
I fancy a cruise.
Well, it looks like travelling is certainly on the cards. All they need to do now is decide exactly where to go.
Greece and Thailand, very different, but we'll make a decision later. Do you want to have a look as well? What about this one here?
What a super result for Jane and Martin, and of course now they can really sit back, relax and take life a little bit more comfortably as they plan their next adventure. Now, if you've got some antiques and collectibles that you'd like to sell in order to raise some funds to renovate your home, then why not contact the programme? You'll find details on our website at bbc.co.uk/lifestyle. See you soon. Oh, you're lovely, aren't you? Oh, very enthusiastic. Oh, you're not going to leave it like that, surely.
1340.
Right, well over.
That was our lot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm getting stuck here.